Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Kate Hamilton podcast. So in today's episode, I interview Karl O'Rourke. So Karl is a personal trainer and he is a podcaster. He is best known as the Uneducated PT and he is the host of the Uneducated PT podcast. Karl's work centers around community-based fitness, connection and social health. And that's exactly what this whole conversation is based around. We talk about social health and why it really is what we need to be focusing on as human beings. We talk about loneliness and how loneliness is actually killing us and that there's studies to back this up. We talk about in business the chasing of numbers, chasing of money, chasing of followers, chasing of status, and the emptiness that comes with that, and how it doesn't really bring that fulfillment that we're looking for, that we think we'll get from it, but how it very much is an unteachable lesson, and one that sometimes people really have to go through and then have the self-awareness to realize that that's what they're doing and that's not actually what's important, and bringing it right back to what constitutes real health is connection and is community and connection and love. And this conversation really has been one of those conversations that has really, really connected with me and made me stop and reflect. In relation to business, I often think about impact and contribution and helping others. In building a business, I've probably not really thought too much about the importance of connection and community and connecting with others. And I think entrepreneurship can be a very lonely place. And this conversation, I think, is a really important conversation that entrepreneurs need to hear and need to take from it what they need. So here we go. Enjoy my conversation with Karl O'Rourke. Karl, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And this is our part two. And we were just saying over 2 years since we last talked.
A good while ago. A lot has happened since then. I would imagine.
Yeah, a lot for both of us. I'd say a lot has happened. And when we talked last time, I didn't re-listen to it because I kind of like not to do that. I just prefer to kind of just come in organically and authentically as where we're at and kind of just pick up the conversation.
Yeah, I never listen back to the podcast because I just don't like listening back to my own voice.
Me neither.
To be honest,
I never listen. And someone said to me recently, "Do you not listen back to the podcast to get better at it and to learn what you're doing wrong?" I'm like, no, I don't care.
I think you just get better by doing the thing. Like when I first started interviewing people, I think nerves make you talk more.
Yeah.
When and then over time I learned that all right, just ask a question, let there be silence, and let people talk, and really good things come up. And I didn't need to listen back to my episodes to understand that. It was more from just repetition.
I think so. And I think if I started listening back to my episodes at the way I said things, the way I repeated things, or how focusing in, it makes it about me.
Yeah.
And it's actually about the person I'm interviewing. And even a solo episode, I'm like, it's not about me, it's about what I'm saying, the information that I'm giving to others.
Yeah.
And the thing about me is, I think, just authenticity and showing up as yourself is the most important thing. And nerves ruins a podcast.
Yeah.
It ruins an interview. Whereas if you can just be relaxed and be like, I don't want it to be perfect.
Yeah. I'll make a confession. When I did my very first ever podcast, I think it was 2019, and anyone who's listening to this who is has a fitness business will probably know, when they do their first video or they do their first podcast, they're very nervous about what other people will think. And I remember cutting clips from it and being like, oh no, I didn't like how I said that, and I cut it and then I posted it, and then I was like, no, actually that's not how I want to come across. So it was just heavily edited.
Yeah.
So then I just deleted it and then I just started again. I was like, you know what, whatever comes out of my mouth, I'm just going to upload it and let it be. And I think the great thing about when you first start off kind of any pursue, whether it's like a fitness business, like your social media page or your podcast, nobody's listening to you at the start anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can make as many mistakes as you want. It doesn't really matter.
But it's fine. I find people now will say to me, "Oh, I've started listening to your podcast from the very start." I'm like, "Oh dear God!" And we're like 170 episodes in or something. I'm like, I was like, "Oh God, I'm really sorry now. There's no editing," and I was
I think that's so healthy for like someone who is actually just starting their first podcast, or is, you know, starting their social media page, or just starting their business, to be able to look at someone that, oh, look at that person, they're doing really well, they're really successful, and then if they go back to like their first or second episode, they're like, oh, they were actually really shit at the start. And then it's like, yeah, well, if I actually just do the thing and I do 170 episodes, I'll get better too.
And it's amazing how quickly that those like 170 episodes go by. Like it's just, and that's just once a week, just tipping away once a week, and you get so used to it, and you learn, I think, how to show up as yourself. And I think as a business person, as someone who, you know, has an online presence, or, you know, you're helping people using social media or podcasting or whatever medium you're using, and I think it takes experience, but especially in today's world, you have to show up as yourself, because otherwise you will be lost in the sea of everyone screaming for attention. Did
you find when you started making content online for nutrition and fat loss for your audience, like the more videos you put up and the more repetition, the more it was easier for you to kind of let yourself come across on camera?
Yeah, definitely. Practice, like just putting it up there, and like that as early as I could, I got an editor. It was like the first thing I outsourced, because I was like, I need to stop overanalyzing everything, and I just wasn't very good at it anyway. I'm not very visually creative, like, so I just got an editor, and then that would be edited, put into the drive, and I just post. So I just used to film, and I think probably like my attention to detail, as I said, isn't great, so I used to just film and film and film. For me, it's always been about the message, what I'm trying to say, rather than how I look or what my background looks like, has always been more important to me. And I think that's what really helped my videos to grow. But along the way, as the growth started to happen, you do fall into the trap of then trying to produce what you think people want as well.
Audience capture, it's called, where it's when you start to gain traction for, you know, putting out certain videos, but then your audience demands, you know, like you'll see it with a lot of trainers online, is that, okay, you see them make videos and like they're cursing a lot. Okay, and then you meet them in person and they don't curse half as much as they do. Because they have to perform for the audience that is engaging more with them, you know, acting a certain way. And that's fine, because we're all more performative online than we are in person anyway. Like if you're trying to capture someone's attention in 30 seconds, you're not going to be having a relaxed conversation like we are now. But the problem is you can sometimes get lost within that audience capture as well, I think.
Definitely.
And you stop being yourself, or you become a more kind of performative version of yourself, which at the same time sometimes that isn't you.
And I think there's a huge soul separation that happens here, and I think it's really eating into what is causing people to be so unhappy and to be really struggling with mental health, particularly people who are who are trying to build businesses, who are posting on social media, and they think that it's the more that they get, the more followers they get, the more clients they get, the more the more recognition they get, the more whole they're going to feel. And I want to go into this in depth with you now in a minute, but like that was something that I was really self-aware and older than a lot of people that do it. So I could see myself doing it. I remember crying to my sister at one point, and my sister was in hospital. She was in hospital for 5 weeks before she had her baby last year. I remember crying going in to visit her. I used to go in most evenings. And I remember crying to her, being like, I can't remember what I'm about, because I had become so much about numbers, and not in a greedy way, more, but just keeping the business going and just trying to.
But you know what's funny, right? Think about that. You're someone who already has lived experience, already knows yourself, right? Like already is self-aware. Imagine like an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old or a 16-year-old or a 15-year-old or a 14-year-old who are all like doing crazy numbers on things like YouTube and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get warped into the drug that is social media and algorithms and engagement and stuff like that. If you don't know yourself, it can literally destroy you.
Yeah, because it breeds separation.
Yeah.
Separation from you to you and your audience are separated. You and your soul ends up separating, and you have no. The only thing it becomes about is the performative side. Did you? Because what I wanted to actually ask you, we've gone on a tangent before we even start, which I love. But what I did want to ask you about was, is this what your experience was? And I don't want to be putting words in your mouth at all. Because I know me and you have very similar kind of trajectory initially, where it was, building an online following, posting videos, setting up all the things in our kitchens or in whatever, and doing the videos, growing the following, building the online coaching business.
Yeah.
And then you did it before me, and I haven't. I suppose I'm taking a little bit of a kind of a V to setting up a second business, but you did a pretty big U-turn in your career.
Yeah.
From building an online coaching business and to building that online following to being like, from the outside, because I know we know each other personally, but we haven't had this conversation, so I don't know. But from the outside, as someone who knows you but doesn't know you that well, it looked very much like you said, "Fuck this."
Yeah. Yeah, I did say that, and I think I needed, because I was thinking about it for a long time of just like kind of cutting everything. But again, you're kind of the security of the business and stuff like that. And then it just got to a feeling where I was like, oh no, I can't continue what I'm doing anymore. We were talking before we went live about like unteachable lessons, and it's like, it's very obvious to say that. Like I spent, so obviously just for context for people, like I was working in a gym for maybe 4 years, and then after that I pivoted to online coaching and building an online presence and content creation for then 5 years. And for 5 years I was working towards building an audience, essentially, because subconsciously, like obviously I didn't realise it at the time, and I probably could lie to myself at the time and say, oh, until I build a big audience, like, these nutrition professionals that I admire or these fitness coaches that I admire, until I can build that type of a business or that type of an audience, then, I'm not, as capable or as good at my job as I should be.
Yeah.
And I think, it's easy to say it, but it's also easy to get caught in the trap of being like, all right, I need to chase these numbers and this validation, whether that's social media grow or whether that's business grow, in order to validate me at my work. But I was already a good coach. I was already helping people with their, with their relationship with food, with fat loss, with whatever the issue was. But I was continuing to pursue like, oh, I need to, put out a video every day, and if that video is not getting the engagement, then that says something about me. And so for 5 years, then I kind of built. I worked towards building up a big audience, and then I got like 3 viral videos in the mix of like 3 weeks or something, and my audience grew. And at the start, I was like, for 2 or 3 weeks, I was like, yes, this is great, I've got everything I wanted. And then when you hit that kind of high, and then it drops down, and you realise, oh, actually, this is, I still feel the same. Nothing's actually changed.
I'm still me.
Yeah, I'm still me. And there's a great quote, I can't remember who said it, but it's like, the biggest failure in life isn't getting what you want. The biggest failure in life is getting what you want and not being content with it. And that happened to me, basically. That was like, oh, I have a successful online coaching business. Like, no, not the biggest in the world, but like in context to people around me, it's like I'm doing pretty well. I can, I can live off what I'm earning. And I had a big audience, and I was like, okay, this is great. This is everything that I wanted. I now have the self-worth that I need in order to do my work. And yeah, like after a couple of months maybe of kind of experience this, I was realizing that actually this isn't making me content or making me happy. I was actually more happy and I was more content in the process of building it than when I actually got it. Like I was more happy
Yeah.
in the day-to-day process of being creative, of learning about different kind of nutrition fallacies or whatever it is, and like you said, getting the message across, and then trying to be creative with saying it in a different way, or getting across so people will actually learn something. And I would get as much satisfaction out of that, more satisfaction out of that than the actual outcome, which was what the outcome was. And so I realized after a while that, okay, you have these kind of hidden metrics and you have these surface level metrics. And the metrics are, okay, you've 100,000 followers, you have you're making this amount a month, and that's all great. But the hidden metrics were, I actually wasn't just happy in my day-to-day life. I was letting my social media and my algorithm dictate my life rather than just being present with friends and family and actually going out and enjoying life. And even with the coaching process, I was like, okay, I was coaching people online. We were doing our Zoom calls. We were having great chats. My clients were happy. But then outside of that, I was like, there was nothing outside of work that was helping me to feel content about my life. And I think I swayed too far one side, where I was like, I'm living like an avatar online. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm literally if I'm not on the computer, I'm on the iPad, I'm on the phone, I'm editing, I'm making a reel, or
I'm filming clips or whatever when I'm out living my life.
Instead of like being present in my life, I was performing my life.
Yeah.
And I suppose that was starting to get to me in a way that I didn't realize. And then it was funny because I was teaching the message of, like, to my clients, I was teaching the message of, being present in the moment, and like, food is much more than just calories and fat loss. It's about relationships, it's about experience. But I wasn't following my own message in regards to business. And then it kind of came to the conclusion where I was like, okay, I need to actually stop living as an avatar online and actually go out and experience life more. And then I was trying to embrace relationships as much as fitness goals or business goals. And then I kind of came to the conclusion that, okay, there's actually something in this, that I should be focusing more on the quality of the relationships around me and being present in them relationships, and having some sort of a community around me, rather than just engaging on this phone 24/7 essentially.
Yeah, and I think that community, that like the positive effects of a community is something that a lot of people are missing, particularly men.
Yeah.
And like I even see it with Dave. Dave will be editing this podcast, so he'll shout out to Dave. But like, as men get older, and you and your friends are probably starting to get to that stage. People are starting to settle down. They're getting married. They're having young kids, and so those days going out to the pub, and like, I don't drink at all anymore, and but that's more just for my own mental health. It's not me thinking that, oh, drinking's really bad, and I'm better, too good for it, or anything like that. It doesn't agree with me anymore. But I do see how important those pub days are for young guys, and they go watch the football together. I know you and your friends are quite good at still doing that, as far as I know.
Well, not as much
as you used to.
No, not really. We did it the other day, but like, I call this transitional loneliness, and I did a talk about this in At Loan, and it's exactly what you're saying is. Transitional loneliness can happen at any point to any person. It can come from, you changing job, and then you're going through that period of, building a business, and you don't have the support network of, the teachers that you used to chat with on lunch, and now you're working by yourself. Or it can come from, like, the kids moving away. They're growing up and they move away, and then you don't have that role as a mother anymore. It can come from, for me, transitional loneliness came from, I had retired from football because my knees weren't allowing me to play anymore. So I didn't have that, like, team lad camaraderie anymore. And then you're getting to a stage where people are having kids and they're moving houses, and we know a lot of people, when they're moving house now, they're not staying even in the same community. They're moving maybe an hour down the road because it's more affordable. So you're kind of breaking up the relationships that you had with friendships throughout your life, and you can kind of before you realize it, you're just looking around and you're like, oh, all the kind of support networks or community or things that I used to do to make me feel like I belonged is now gone. And I think that was a big aspect of when I walked away from online as well. It wasn't actually just the online work, but it was all the things that I used to do outside of the online work that actually kept me sane, like going out and playing football with the lads on the weekend, and then we would go for drinks down in the pub.
And that started to disappear a little bit for you.
That disappeared for me. I think I had moved out, so I didn't have the family around me. I didn't have football anymore, so I didn't have that team environment. I went through a breakup, so I didn't have that relationship aspect as well. So all these little changes in my life, but then I was continuing to be on the laptop, and then I would finish the day, and then I didn't have any sort of an outlet. And I think that's happening to a lot of people now, because a lot of people are working remotely and they realise that, oh, actually we don't talk to our co-workers anymore, we don't talk to our neighbours as much, we're not engaging in sport or some sort of a group activity as much.
Sure, when you go to the shop, you don't even have to talk to a shopkeeper anymore.
Exactly. And there is really great research in regards to social connection, that even just going to the barista and smiling and having like a 2-minute conversation with them is a lot. There's so much more benefits to that for your health than people who they're in a rush, grab their coffee, go straight out the door to work. And you see that in all aspects of life. It's like you can go to some restaurants now, and instead of talking to the waitress or the waiter, you just scan the barcode and you just order your food that way. Again, like you said, you could go into a supermarket, and instead of talking to the shop lady, you're going straight to the till. Instead of going out for food, people will just Uber Eats and get food delivered to the door. And instead of talking to your co-workers, you might be doing a Zoom call with them. So there's so many ways in which we're actually disconnected from reality and from people, and I think that's making a lot of people sick.
I 100% agree, and I think although we're more connected than ever with all these different social media things, there's no switch off. I know I'm a few years older than you, not that much older now, but from when we were growing up, like you went out to play with your friends, or even as a teenager, you were out with your friends.
We would have the same childhood experience, because it would have been before 2010 when social media exploded.
So like you'd go out with your friends, and you might have had a fantastic time, you might have had a shit time where you had a fight with someone, or people are just being fucking shitty or whatever, but you came home. And I remember I was living in the box room. I stupidly given my sister the bigger room. I don't know why I did that. But anyway, I was in the box room, but it was grand. I had my TV and my little DVD player. And I used to watch like Friends box sets or Sex and the City or whatever. But it was your safe space. It was your switch off from the world and from the fucking people who are at you all the time. Even if you don't realise that they're at you. And I'm not even talking about bullying necessarily. It's just hard growing up. Like,
it's just constant.
It's just constant. And it's like when you're a teenager and you're a young person and you're constantly performing. And like I think about this a lot, because like Jaden, my eldest, is 16 now. Like Layla's 13 and Kai's 8, so he's not online yet. But it's like I take their phones off them, and they're like, "Oh, you're like no one else's parent does this. Why are you doing this?" And Jaden gives me so much shit. But like, I bet you now, like I left my house at 9 o'clock this morning, and I guarantee you he's still lying in his bed scrolling on his phone, because he's on his summer holidays as we speak. And I text him, I said, "Get up and go to the gym." I said, like, PT mom. And I'm like, "Get up and go to the fucking gym," trying to get him a job. But I think that we don't we're so lonely, but yet we're always switched on, and we're always seeing everyone with the perfect lives, or we're listening to people giving us shit, or just it's just there's no safe space anymore.
We have no concept of like doing nothing anymore. Like, like when you were younger and you had to get the bus somewhere, like you would just sit at the bus stop. You know what I mean? But now, like, you constantly have devices that people can't even go for a shit without just scrolling on their phone. Like, there's no, like, they can't be alone with their thoughts. Like, if you get someone to try to be alone with their thoughts for half an hour, it will drive them insane. It would drive me insane. I've actually been practicing trying to do it. But there's great research even in, like, the average person spends, like, 2.5 months a year on their phone. Now, that's the average person. I would assume you're higher than that. I would be higher than that. If you use work as your, excuse to, be doom scrolling, whatever, you're probably spending a lot more on your phone than that. And like, this comes from us who, would have had a childhood where you could kind of go out and you had a play-based childhood rather than, a phone-based childhood.
Yeah.
The next generation, like, and you can see it in all the research. Like we run a youth mental health charity where we kind of give access to private mental health services on demand to kids, and like the reports that we get from the therapists is like it's seriously bad in terms of suicidal ideation for so many young teenagers. And like most of the research will report this as well, is that I think from 10 years of age to 14 years of age, young girls suicidal, not ideation, but suicide attempts shot up like 60-70%. I don't have the research on me now, but it's a massive jump, and it goes straight from 2010 when all image-based social media came about, and it's like a direct correlation between social media and suicide attempt for young girls, because everyone knows with young girls as well, they ruminate a lot in their heads as well.
Yeah.
And then if you don't have any switch off and you're going home and you're going into your room and then you're going straight onto social media, you're not getting away from kind of that group dynamic of other teenagers. Like it's a lot to be just constantly thinking about. And then it's the same with lads as well, as depression, anxiety, suicide ideation has all increased dramatically since 2010, since the rise of social media. And I don't like to sit here and bitch about social media all the time, because obviously it's given you and me loads of benefits, and like I've met so many great people through social media, and then going to events and then becoming great friends with people, and it gives you so many opportunities as well. So like there's so much benefits to it as well, but there's also a lot of negatives to it.
And I think the answer isn't to sit and you hear a lot of people just sit and just, oh Jesus, what are we going to do about this social media? We need to keep them off social media.
It's not going anywhere.
It's like it's not going anywhere. So it's a case of having, and I don't want to make the whole podcast about how to look after our teens either, but we have to find a way to teach them how to live in this world and how to switch off in this world. But I don't think we've figured it out ourselves yet.
No.
And I think that is the problem. And I think the best thing that we can do is in our homes is just create those boundaries and be the examples. Like sit down at dinner and everyone puts their phone into a box or over onto the counter, and you sit and I try and do this. So now I'm not perfect. That this doesn't happen consistently in my house. If I'm busy, I forget, and everyone's on their fucking screens or they're eating in different rooms or whatever. But making an effort, I think the biggest things you can do is making an effort for like meal times, even if it's not the whole family together, that there's a couple of you together. Just put the phones away and have a conversation. Just listen to them. Half the time teenagers don't even want to talk to you anyway, but that they know that you're there, being annoying, asking them questions every day so that they can, if they want to. The
worst thing you can do, I think, in this situation is try and blame the parents, because like they're fighting an absolute uphill battle against the most, like we started this podcast talking about the addictive nature of social media rewarding you for videos and stuff like that. So it's happening to adults. Of course it's going to happen to children as well. All I can say is, in terms of my own experience with social media, like the more I'm on social media, the worse my mental health is. There's a direct correlation there. And instead of being like trying to cut out social media or even reduce it, for me it was just like increase things that give me the opportunity not to be on my phone. And that can come from like, all right, I'm doing a class where you go to the gym, and if you go by yourself, and you can literally be like scrolling on Instagram between sets.
I've actually just gone back to class-based training because
exactly
I'm far too much on my own.
Exactly. Whereas if you do like a group training, or you do a CrossFit class, or you do whatever it is that you like, it doesn't have to be fitness. I know we're going to talk about fitness because that's the industry we're in, but it can be a dance class, it can be cooking, it can be whatever it is. If you have something that's going to give you the opportunity for an hour to be off your phone and out of your head and be around people and doing some sort of an activity, like the benefits that's going to have is going to be so great.
And I think that's something I've realised with myself. So that's how it all started for me, when I did make the career change, and like fitness became my job, and then it very quickly more went into like nutrition and habit development and mindset and lifestyle, and like the coaching that I do, health and fitness coaching I do, is much more about the lifestyle, and we go deep with it a lot more than just about sets and reps. But fitness used to be my hobby. So I used to do CrossFit. I don't do anymore. I'm too old, I'm too broken. I just can't. I tried to go back and I just can't anymore. My overhead mobility is fucking shocking, and I'm just not willing to put the work into to fix it. I'm like, I'm okay,
the self-awareness
like a T-Rex.
is there.
The self-awareness is there. I'm okay being a T-Rex, it's fine. But so I kind of been between gyms and trying this gym and that gym, because I just realised that suddenly the gym was starting to become a chore, because it was more alone time, and it was like that screen time in between, and then it started to become a bit about what I looked like as well. You know what I mean? These kind of commercial gyms, you're surrounded by bodybuilders, and you're looking around at all these people in their little shorts and sports bras, and it gets very warped very quickly to think that that's fitness when it actually isn't. But I'm now in a place where I've joined a new class-based gym They do a bit of high rocks if you want it. They do a bit of trica. They do all that stuff. But you can also go and do strength classes, and the programming's good.
Yeah.
And there's output classes where you can do partner workouts, and there's a good mix of cardio, a good mix of strength. But and like me and Dave have only just joined. But I'm excited.
You're enjoying it.
I'm excited for it to be a hobby. And we've been going in the evening time. Usually, for the past few years, I've been training in the morning after I drop Kai to school. Whereas now I go for my walk, get my little coffee, come home, get the work done.
Yeah.
And in the evening, I'm going with Dave at the minute. Yeah. And it feels like a hobby because I don't need to think about it. I'm wrecked after dinner and I'm like right annoyed rushing out the door to the gym. But when I get there, I just have to follow the program. Yeah. And
it's your stress release from life, essentially.
Yeah. And I'm excited to become part of that community and have a hobby again.
That's basically what I built my whole business on then. Was essentially that was like, okay, I'm going to create a program where it's class-based group training, but the goal isn't physique development. The goal isn't bigger muscles, and the goal isn't like a smaller waist. The goal is essentially to be around other people, to have a break from life, to interact with other people, to exercise to feel good, but to be able to have a conversation with other people. Because, so many people are now like working from home. They might have their relationship at home, but like they want to get out. They want to get out of the house after 8 hours of work. And they don't have a lot of opportunities in regards to create that environment where it's like, you're in a group of people, you're working together, and you're getting that stress release, not just from training, but from interacting with other people that you wouldn't usually interact with. And like you're ticking off so many different boxes there throughout that. That's why we basically call it like social health, which still I'm surprised it still hasn't gone as mainstream as it should in regards to social health, because like the research around it, the research that Julianne Holt-Lunstad has done in terms of being around other people, being around relationships, and like there's obviously everyone's going to be different in regards to how many relationships they need to feel healthy. It's the same as like sleeping. You can tell someone they need 8 hours sleep, but some people can work off less and some people can work off more. Yeah. It's the same with kind of relationships, but like there is kind of like, you might have your romantic relationship, you might have your family relationship, you might have, your childhood friends, and you might have like that group of people that you have similar interests with, that you can kind of relate to.
But I'd imagine there's a baseline that everybody needs. Obviously, some people are more introverted than others. Mm-hmm. Like, if I take myself and my sister as an example, I'm much more introverted than her. I like to keep my circle small.
Yeah, of course.
She's friends with half the community. You know what I mean? And so I think it very much depends, doesn't it, on the person? But is there like a baseline?
Well, like I think even with introverts, there is a misconception that introverts don't need social connection, but they do. But the thing is, like, you're probably not, like, you're not introverted when you're around Dave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you still have your people that you can just be yourself with and you can be close with, and it's not energy zapping.
Yeah.
So, and I think everyone needs that, and that's what connection isn't the knowing the most people. Connection is the quality of the relationship that you have with that person.
Yeah, that you can actually just relax
and
be you, and there's no performing involved in it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like there's nothing better than being around someone and you can just be silent. So there can be silence and it doesn't feel awkward.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. And that's what, like, connection is basically. It's not the quantity of relationships; it's the quality of the relationships. Yeah. Essentially.
Yeah. So I must say, I think that you've done that really well with what you've built now. Mm-hmm. From the outside looking in, the get-togethers you do, the classes, the client shout-outs, like you can feel that community come through what you do. And I know your business is much more in person now, but what you do, share of that on social media, really shines through. And it's so wonderful to see. And, sometimes I look at it and I see faces that I recognise, and I'm like, it's amazing to see so-and-so do so well. And, I think it just shows how powerful that human connection is, that actually shines through so strongly. Yeah, you wouldn't.
I think also there's a good thing to know actually for kind of anyone who has a fitness business now is that, like, your coaching doesn't start once they kind of come into contact with you and they sign up to your coaching. Your coaching starts even within your content. Like when someone comes to join our program, they know straight away what they're getting. And like you'll have a lot of people who start and they'll say, "Oh, Karl, I just moved into Bray. I don't really know anyone, and I want to get to know people and also obviously train." So like they know exactly what they're coming in for when they do start, and that obviously comes from us being very, very public in regards to like this is like a community kind of based thing that has fitness involved. So like we'll go for hikes, we'll do events, we'll go out to the harbour bar together. You know, we do loads of different things. And then obviously, you know, fitness is the glue that brings everyone together. But then they make their relationships doing all sorts of things, and that's what it is. It's social health, it's social connection, it's community, it's having a place to go outside of your hectic life, and that works well for people, I think.
I think it's the future, to be quite honest. Like let's talk a little bit around AI here for a minute, because, you know, like as someone who has an online fitness business, and the most important thing in that whole business, the most important thing and the highlight of my week is we have a Wednesday night call. Yeah. Everyone comes on the call. Yeah. We connect. Yeah. It's supposed to be an hour. It's usually closer to an hour and a half nearly by the time we finish talking. And every week that is the most important part. We have our WhatsApp group as well. And although it is online, that connection part is the most important. Like we're now entering a world of AI, and any coaches or any type of service-led businesses, particularly if we talk about online coaches here, need to listen to this. You will be replaced. Yeah. You will be replaced if all you're giving is information and programs, because
AI can do it better.
Yeah, the general public might not be up to scratch with AI just yet. But I tell you one thing, I don't need a coach anymore. Yeah. That's for sure.
Why if all you're offering is a nutrition plan, a program, and like a couple of WhatsApp texts a week, well, like AI is going to be able to program that more efficiently and faster than you'll be able to do it. So you have to have more about you than just, you know, the deliverables, the training program, the nutrition plan, the weekly check-in, and like that's how I built my online coaching business. Was we would all jump on a group call together, and we would all have the chats, and, you know, we would talk about what people are struggling with, and, you know, it became, I was obviously supporting the person, but then after a while it was like people on the calls would start being able to support each other and started to kind of connect through that. So there's no reason why you can't create that human connection and community through online as well. Like I did that as well.
I do urge people though to really think about as they move forward, and this is my own health and fitness coaching included, that needs to start happening, is in person brought into that. You know, and a lot of coaches are doing this, you know, these in-person meetups every second month or whatever. And I think that's such an important, whether you do big events or just group hikes like you do, just that in-person stuff is going to be very, very much needed.
You'll build a connection with someone 10 times quicker by meeting them in person than online. Now, well, like I've done lots of mentorships where we would have our weekly Zoom calls and we would chat about things that we're struggling with in business, and you'd kind of connect with people because you're like, oh, that person's funny or that person's relatable, and you would chat, and then you would chat outside of the group environment. But then when you, like, I did plenty of events where I'd have to fly over to Manchester because that's where my mentorship was, and once you meet someone in person that you had been kind of communicating with for the last couple of months, it makes such a difference in regards to, even like if you're a fitness business now and you run an event and, you know, 2 or 3 of your members, your clients start to bond with each other, the retention you're going to get out of that is going to be huge. Most people don't go to my gym because of me. They go now because they've made friends with X, Y, and Z. So like, I don't even have to be there. Do you know what I mean? They're not there for me.
It becomes a playground for adults.
Exactly.
Like, it really
100%.
does.
That's the perfect way to put it.
It just, it's, and especially, you know, adults of like 40 plus that used to play sport and aren't able to play sport anymore, or can't play sport, or, you know, people who are isolated working from home, or that are parents, that in-person side. But like what you were saying there in relation to, like, just say the business mentorship, and you go over, there's a lot to be said for and like I loved those in-person events and the different mentorships I went to as well. And it's what I needed the most, it with actually just having dinner with someone,
100%.
Going having a few drinks, even as someone who doesn't drink, but, you know, going in that drinking environment where everyone's just letting their hair down, and it's just a bit of crack. You're having a bit of crack, you know, and you can still talk about business.
Like I don't think I remember much from most of the events I went to in terms of this, in terms of the speakers. Not that the speakers weren't.
I'd have been
great.
the annoying person now with the pen. Fuck this, I'm gonna get ahead of these people who are hungover.
No, I definitely took notes and stuff like that. But just the buzz of flying somewhere, meeting up with people you didn't really know, really like anxiety induced and really nervous, and then you realise, oh, this person's this person's cool, this person's, and then you would have coffee before you go into the event, or you would have dinner after. Like I remember, like 5 or 6 of us went for dinner after, and we just had the chats about everything. And like they were that's what I remember coming back from them events, not the actual event itself, but the experience around it,
and how you felt.
Yeah. And that's the whole point of social connection. It was like, what made that experience great was I got to connect with other people, other like-minded coaches.
Yeah,
that's the whole game. The whole game is connecting with other people. It's relationships. And people just don't get that. Like, no matter what your goal is, your goal could be weight loss, it could be to build your business, it could be whatever it is, but it's in the process, the people you meet along the way is what makes it memorable, not the actual outcome.
Yeah. I know, I couldn't agree more. Like when you think about if health and fitness coaches are listening and you're building this for your clients, your clients want to be around other people who are trying to build a healthy lifestyle and the tips and tricks that work for them, and they're building that new identity, and being around other people who are in a similar boat is just so empowering. And I see this all the time with my health and fitness coaching. And then like look at yourself as an entrepreneur and be like, what do you need? And that was a huge learning curve for me with mentorships. That yes, I was looking to know what I needed to know. But I also needed the group calls. I actually needed it more than I did the accountability.
Exactly.
Because usually as entrepreneurs we're quite get up and go and we just get shit done anyway. So it wasn't necessarily the accountability, but it was the community and the friendships that I made. And, you know, like having a friend that you can like have an absolute meltdown on a voice note to, and like my friend Katrina, we're that for each other. Like I will send her a meltdown message, and she's in Australia at the minute, she'll wake up to that, I'll wake up to her meltdown messages, but we kind of help each other out. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you just, when you're building a business, it's lonely, it's stressful, but the same is true for your clients who are trying to lose weight, particularly if they're in an unsupportive environment at home. Or I get a lot of women who join my coaching and they don't tell their husbands or their partners or their kids or in their household that I don't want anyone to know. Yeah. And it's because they don't believe they can do it. And they will eventually get to the stage that they're feeling so empowered, and it's so great to see. But for like as a coach, it's really important to remember that the space that you hold for people might be their only happy, safe space. As well. Like you don't know what people are going through.
It can be a very lonely journey being an entrepreneur, especially in an online one as well. Because you're constantly just and like that dynamic is really important that you spoke about, because you could have someone who is coaching you, your mentor, okay, and you could be, you know, coaching people and you are the mentor, but having that kind of middle ground of people who are on the same journey as you to be able to connect with is really important, and people forget about that part of it. So if you have a business now and you know you are missing out on that aspect of actually create an environment or a dynamic where actually, you know, the people that you are helping can actually help each other, that's, you know, it's creating its own momentum then.
And I feel this really strongly, like with this kind of, you know, that transition, bringing it back to that transitional loneliness that you're talking about, like going from teacher to then, like, you know, building this online coaching business with 3 kids and a mortgage, leaving teaching. Everyone's a bit like, shit, Kate's fucking lost it. Like, what's happening? You know, this is a phase, whatever, you know. But like being so true to your message. But there's a lonely phase. And I don't know, maybe you can tell me who talks about this lonely phase. Was it Chris Williamson?
Chris talks about it.
He talks about it, doesn't he? And that it's like, you know, I lost a lot of teacher friends and connections, not because of any reason, just because
it's just life.
It's situational
it's
as well.
Situational,
And then I wasn't quite where I wanted to be with my business, and you go through that lonely phase until you become externally what you feel internally, and people recognize it and then you start connecting with people.
People are drawn towards you that are in the similar thing then. And
then I find myself in this weird transitional period again, that although I'm not leaving Coach Kate behind, Coach Kate's still there, but there's a new branch of Kate starting to grow that is a little bit lonely in that journey, because she's not really sure where she's going, and she hasn't connected with people who are on that same journey as much yet, or who are further along than her. But I don't know why I'm talking about myself in the third person, but we'll go with it.
Yeah, but it makes sense.
But so, you know, what's really important in those transitional periods are mentorships.
Yeah. People who are on that same journey with you. You know, because they're feeling the exact same thing.
So your mentor who's a little bit ahead of you, but the people in it
are more important. Almost more important as well, because you need to not feel alone when you're going through that. Because even your mentor can be explaining to you, like, you know, this is fine, but if having someone who is experiencing the same feelings as you, I think is a lot more powerful than someone who is trying to reassure you who's already 3 or 4 steps ahead. You know?
No, 100%. And I think that's something I didn't realise until I experienced it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And that's the misconception about kind of transitional loneliness, is that, you know, like you could have all the relationships, you know, this, like if you could tick off all the boxes and say, oh, you're not lonely. You have, you know, a husband, you have kids, you have friends, you have coworkers, you have whatever. But it's like, it's the phase of life that you're going through that can almost determine that. So it's a difficult. Everyone will go through it at some point. Whether it's obviously, when what we're talking about is business, people will go through it in fitness. It's like, you know, you had friends who you engaged in all these unhealthy behaviours with, but that's fine because they were your friends, and you know you loved going to the pub every weekend. And now you're trying to get in shape and become, you know, like a better person.
And people will try and hold you back.
Exactly,
From
yeah.
a loving way, but also an uncomfortable in themselves way. Being like,
exactly,
I don't
yeah.
like that Karl's doing this
Yeah.
now. That's making me feel a bit shit about myself.
Absolutely.
So I'll
And
give a shit
then,
about it.
Yeah, and then you're in that lonely phase yourself. It's like you're trying to improve yourself in some way, whether you're just trying to, like, instead of going to the pub, you're trying to go to the gym. And it's because you're not there yet, you know, you don't have the identity of fitness yet. It's very difficult then to, you know, be in this little kind of no man's land between, you know, the person who goes out on the rip every weekend to the person who's trying to pursue fitness, and like who are my friends, or who are the people with me along that.
And this is why we panic and revert back to our old patterns, because it feels too uncomfortable. And I think that's why it's so important as well, baby steps with it. But I think what, like, you know, business owners and coaches need to take from this is what you like to survive in this world of AI, and to build a successful business that is actually, like, I'm presuming people listening want to actually help people, and it's not just about making money. You have to create that space for people, because that's what's missing in life, and it's what people need. Whether you are a health and fitness coach, whether you are I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like, it doesn't matter what type of area of whether you are like a nail tech, whether you are like a beautician of some sort, a hairdresser, no matter what type of if you are any type of service provider, you can hold a space for people where they feel seen, where they feel heard, and where they feel connected. And particularly health and fitness coaches, I think, have, if you can be ahead of this curve, I think, and you know, really hold people in that space of feeling connected, you're onto a winner, and a really, not just a really successful business that's going to survive this period in time, but also a really fulfilling, sustainable business where you're actually you love it and you enjoy it, and the stopping of the chasing of the numbers, of the social media numbers and the money. And like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to make a bit of money and go see the world, but
it's like you have to hold two conversations in your head at once. It's like, of course, because like you have to be able to make money in order to survive in the industry. You know, and most I think there's more health and fitness coaches out there who want to help people that then want to make money. And I think the issue is then that they actually end up not being able to make the money because, you know, they don't know how to market their services, or they're afraid to, you know, ask for what their value is, and so on and so forth. So like I know there is like a part of the industry that's very much, you know, make as much money as possible and not really giving a shit about the people that they work with. It might be just that I'm in my own echo chamber of always meeting kind of coaches who are the other side of the things, who want to help people, rather than just want to make as much money as possible. So I don't know if you've experienced that yourself. Like, I presume,
there are so many. I mean, I find there's so many coaches. They've so much experience, so much knowledge. So, like, you know, not even just coaches. Like, I'm talking dietitians here. You know, physios. Like, loads of people with, you know,
in that space.
In the health space, that have so much knowledge, but still have this imposter syndrome about putting this information out there, or they're worried about being criticised. And it's like, I don't like the negative narrative of giving out about the industry.
It doesn't help you anyway.
It does. The industry is how it is. How do we change it? By more of the people who care putting their stuff out there. And I think that's really what I want to be able to do in the industry as well, is the people who really care, who, you know, we're going to make a difference, help them
Be
seen,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that they can help more people and show them how to be seen and show them how to build the systems and
Yeah,
the marketing.
and sometimes that does come from like, if to like flip the script on what we've been having a conversation about is like worrying so much about numbers and worrying so much about building a following. Like, you have to earn a certain amount and you have to build some sort of an audience to be able to help them people. Because if no one sees what you're doing, how can you help them?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
so you do have
Yeah.
to. It's a catch-22, because you have to actually build some degree of an audience. Like, it doesn't have to be a massive audience. It just has to be an engaged audience, and you do have to be able to earn a certain amount a month to be able to survive, to be able
And
to live.
I think this is the part that this balance that I have struggled with.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't be alone. I'm sure a lot of others struggle with this. I don't think I've ever really talked to anyone about this before, but the having to keep, like, when you're running a business, particularly as it grows and it is, you're bringing in a decent amount of money, you've got staff, you have people to pay, or even if it is just yourself and your clients, you have to look at the numbers.
Yeah, of
like,
course you do.
and for a long time I used to fucking dread an email from my accountant, and I oh my God, like, I had so much to learn coming. And huge kind of stress around money and numbers, and like wanting to grow. And I really love, a lot of coaches hate the business side of growing a business. I love the business side of growing a business as much as I love the coaching side. So it makes sense then that I'm growing a business mentorship. But I found then I was getting too business heavy, not in a greedy way, but just in my mind would just go to the business side. Okay, the social media, how are we marketing this? How are we going to do this launch? What are the numbers looking like? What is it projected going to look like in 2 months' time? Shit, there's not enough money there to pay everyone unless we do X, Y, and Z. All of this kind of stuff going on. It takes away from the creativity and the message. And I think when I go back to that moment of crying to my sister, being like, who am I? It was like that balance had gone too far one way. Now I very much had to go very imbalanced the other way for a while and really reconnect back with me.
Yeah.
What am I about? What is Nourish Her, this big business that I've built? What is it? What is its purpose? We need to make sure that maintains. And how do I maintain this wonderful business that I love as much as my kids, which I do. And I say this a lot, I really do, because it's me. It all came from me. And how do I nurture that, look at the numbers, keep that going, and then tap into my creativity for this new thing as well?
Yeah.
It's a really hard balancing act.
It's very hard. I don't think I could give you the answer to that.
I don't think there is an answer. I think it's seasons.
Yeah.
Is what I figured out. It's like, it's very hard. Like, if you think about, like, you're on a seesaw by yourself in the middle, and you're trying to get it to balance right there in the middle, like, and
you can't.
It's never. And I think people give up because they think they can't get it balanced. It's not balanced. Like, entrepreneurship's not balanced.
No.
And you have to be okay with the uncertainty. There are some times where you'd be like, shit, is everything going to fall apart? It always has a way of working out. If you don't sabotage yourself, it always works out.
I suppose that's why they say, like, an entrepreneur has to have many hats. All right, you have to be able to be that people. You have to have them people skills. You have to have that logical brain at times. You have to know your numbers. You have to be creative at times and be able to market. You have to be able to manage people. Like, you also have to be able to take that hat off and be able to like, experience life and enjoy a relationship.
That's the other thing that I've lost, and I think I'm still struggling with a bit. Apart from, like, obviously the identity of mother. And partner. I don't.
Who was Kate after that? After business.
That's where I'm at now. I don't know. I can't answer it, because Kate and business is the same thing to me at the minute.
That's also I think probably a struggle for business owners. It's like, what's your hobbies? Of my business. It's like, your business can't really. Well, I won't say can't, because people can actually live their lives any way they want. I don't think there should be any judgment attached or any real rules. But I find with myself, it's like, if I only look at my business as, and I suppose I've used my business to also create pleasure and out of that, in terms of, like, my clients are also, like, I've forced them to hang around with me. Come on, we're going for a hike. Come on, we're going for food. So, like, I've created that dynamic as well. But I also have to have something outside of that as well. Whether it's just like hanging around with a friend and just being Karl, but Karl, not the trainer. But I think that can be difficult as well, because like, when we say that, like, we need to switch off, it's like, it's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I spent a lot of the time that I haven't been in business and I haven't been working by myself. You know, when the kids are in school, going for a walk by myself, Dave would be working or whatever. And,
Yeah.
you know, and I like being by myself. But
Yeah.
then I think I got to the stage that I overanalyzed my life so much, whereas now I'm like, I need to be around people. I need to learn to have a bit of fun again.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it, to have a bit of fun. But then I also just really enjoy working on my business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
It's also addictive, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 It can be quite addictive, and it's hard to decide that, okay, I'm going to go do something random that I haven't done
Yeah.
before, and when you could also be saying to yourself, well, that's 4 hours of the day that I could have got ahead of whatever I
Yeah.
needed to do in regards to my tasks.
Yeah. And I think I'm just getting really, really aware of time passing. Like I've turned 40 this year, and I'm really excited about being in my 40s.
Yeah.
Getting older doesn't bother me. And, you know, even looking older or whatever, like, I don't care. Like, that doesn't bother me. If anything, I'm just like, it's just more experience, more to share,
Yeah.
more comfortable in your own skin. Like, the older I get, the more confident I become in myself.
Yeah.
But how quickly my kids are growing up is frightening the shit out of me. Like, it really is. I'm like, holy shit. Like, Carl, do you know 2006 is 20 years ago? Like,
I haven't really thought about it, but
like,
it will depress me to think about
2006, right? I think about this. So in 2006, I was 20, right? I genuinely don't know where those 20 years went. How is it 2026? Like, if I think back to me when I was in 2006, so me now talking about 2006 to like Jaden and Layla, my kids,
Yeah.
and I'm talking to them about 2006, it's the same as my parents talking to me about 1986.
I always
back
see
in
them comparisons,
2006,
and they
I'm
frighten
like,
me. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So like, it's more the passing of time that frightens me.
Yeah.
That
What frightens you about it, though, do you think?
that I don't remember much of it.
Mm.
And that I'm like, I wasn't present. So what's really important to me now is presence and purpose and connection.
Yeah.
Which brings me on to the
study that I was talking about.
Yeah,
so
talk to me about this Harvard.
So this was also like a wake up call for me, that I was like that's why I asked you that question, because I would have answered the exact same thing, is that I wasn't actually present, that I was like working really hard to build something, but I wasn't actually enjoying it. Or I wasn't enjoying it with people.
Yeah.
As well, I was trying to do it all myself, and then like, you know, you do something, and then someone had something great on social media the other day. It's like, this girl, she was living away from her family and friends, and she went and she ran a race. I think it was like a 10k or a half marathon or whatever it was to her. Like, it was a huge achievement for her. And then she was at the finish line, and there was no one there to celebrate with her. And then she was like bawling, crying, and it was like, it's like achievements are great, but what's better is to be able to celebrate them with the people that you love.
Yeah.
Like, that's really important. Like, you building your business but having no one to celebrate it with, like, like it's a great achievement, but you know, it can be all that sweeter when you're able to celebrate that with people. And like that, the Harvard adult development study, it's one of the longest running studies on health and happiness. And essentially, they followed. I'm only paraphrasing now because I haven't referenced this study in a long time. But it's like, I think it was like 620 participants, and they came from all like different socio-economic backgrounds. So you had like Harvard students who could have been quite privileged, some of them, and you had like, you know, Boston boys who, you know, might have got in trouble every now and again. So you got people from all different kind of walks of life, essentially, and they followed them throughout their lives, from when they were babies to when they were teenagers to when they were adults to when they had kids to up until they passed away. They would follow them throughout their whole lives. John F. Kennedy was actually one of the participants in it as well.
Wow.
And they would just do surveys with them all the time. They would just kind of do these surveys to see how their lives were going and stuff like that. And what they found was, so they interviewed them all at the start, and a lot of the participants, they would ask them, like, what's a happy life, and so on and so forth. And they would say things like, you know, wealth, status, fame, achievement, all these things. If I can achieve this, I'm going to be happy. And it was all in their different domains of what they wanted out of life. And what they found over time through doing surveys and medical reporting and all that, was the healthiest and the happiest individuals were the ones that had meaningful connections in their lives, both with their friends, their family, and with their community. And the ones that died earlier and suffered from different types of diseases, didn't have strong connections at all in their lives. And that the report is really, really detailed. It goes into loads of different reasons as to why they failed to have strong connections in their lives. Things like the inability to forgive and so on and so forth. But what they essentially found was that, it was relationships by the end of their lives that determined how healthy they were and how content they were. Regardless of what they did in their lives, regardless of their economic background, regardless of their social status, regardless of anything, it was the relationships, the quality of the relationships in their lives defined their health and it defined their happiness. And we see that in other research studies as well, in terms of, it reduces depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, dementia, cardiovascular disease, all cause mortality. Loneliness is detrimental to your health. It's smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day and greater than obesity and inactivity. That's across the board on all research, which is an insane thing to think about. And they even have this there's loads of research studies with doctors that will, a patient will come into them and they'll describe, things that are wrong with them, and instead of giving them medication, they give them social prescribing, and they go out and they do different things, and they come back and all their health markers improve.
Shocking.
So it's crazy. It's having good quality relationships in your life will not only just improve your health overall, but improve the quality of your life. So I think we're missing the forest for the trees if we chase after achievement like building the business, building the body, running the races, whatever it is, if we're doing that at the sacrifice of our relationships. I'm not saying don't be ambitious. And I'm not saying don't focus on I can agree with a lot of the hustle culture stuff from like Alex Hormozy and stuff like that as well. But if you're doing all that stuff while sacrificing the relationships in your lives, you might get to the end of your life and be like, oh, I've achieved everything I want and I'm not happy.
Yeah, and never was along the way.
Yeah, and never was along the way either.
Did you watch or listen to the interview that Alex Hormozy did with Tony Robbins?
No, I missed it. I seen it go viral a couple of times online, and I never got around to it.
I listened to it. It's such a good
I'd
listen.
say it's interesting
because Alex
does he have a change in perspective by the end of the?
I've never seen Alex Hormozy speechless, uncomfortable. Tony makes him uncomfortable. And I like Alex Hormozy, and I'm quite anti-hustle culture, particularly for women. It's particularly women over 40. It doesn't do us any good. But I also I like the ambition and the self-belief.
You can take parts of it and be like,
I look at him and I'm like, Jesus Christ, look at the self-belief, the work ethic, the vision. I'm like, we can do this too. You know what I mean? And I think Alex Hormozy has had a very positive impact in a lot of ways. Probably, taken up the wrong way can be very it can be very unhealthy for people as well. And I don't think Alex has ever said that what he's promoting is healthy or balanced, and he's very upfront about that. But the Tony, because obviously Tony Robbins is what he's in his 60s, but he's a fantastic businessman. He's a billionaire.
Absolutely,
he has worked very hard and is very extreme in his health and his different stuff. And he's probably gone a bit mad over the decades. With his success, but he's also very connected and very tuned in on how important human connection is, and he really challenges Alex on that, and he asks Alex questions in it where Alex doesn't know how to answer. He's like, and he actually goes, what do you mean? He doesn't actually get it. So, which is interesting now, because I think himself and his wife have just announced that they're expecting a baby.
And the funny thing is, I was listening to a podcast that him and Layla did a couple of years ago, and they were saying, we don't want to have children because we don't need to have children because our business is our child. And I was listening to that. I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I know there is going to be a percentage of the population who just don't want to have kids,
and I respect that.
And that's fair. Everyone can live their own lives. But I just thought it was interesting, and then to hear that is interesting, that there's been a change in perspective. But he's an extreme example of what working is, and I think, like all extreme examples, you can take parts of that without having to identify with the whole thing. You can take the things that are relevant for you and that you needed to hear and use them without going the full length of the spectrum.
And this is me as well. There's these two sides of me, and we can finish on this now. But it's like so my whole thing with my Lead Her mentorship is very much the grounded woman and the powerhouse woman interconnected.
Yeah, 100%.
So like, you know, integrated, because I thought for a long time it was one or the other. And I love learning about spirituality. I'm very, very connected to the universe, to nature, to myself, like to my true self. Like, and I listen to a lot on that. Like I do quite a lot of meditation, and you know, and that's really important to me. So I am very spiritual. But I also have this like ambition in me where I'm like, yes, like I love like listening to like Alex Hormozy or listening to, you know, like Sarah Blakely who created Spanx. I love her. Like she's amazing, you know. And but then I'm like, for a long time I was like, oh well, I have to trade everything that I love to be able to create something, and that, or else, you know, that if I want to be super grounded, live a simple, peaceful life, which I also do, that I have to trade success for that. And then what I've realised is, no, you fucking don't.
No, you don't.
You can have both.
Yeah,
you can have both. And that's exactly what I'm doing. And that's what I'm building. And I think it's exciting. And it's okay you need the self-awareness. And it was what you said there. Listen to Alex Hormozy. Take what's relevant to you from him. Listen to Eckhart Tolle. And take the spiritual stuff that's relevant to you. Read books like Man's Search for Meaning. It doesn't mean you have to drop everything in your life and live a life like a monk.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can take parts of it that connect with your soul and are important for you.
And like you said earlier, you can do it in seasons as well.
Yeah.
Like you can go real like hustle like culture if you want for...
You're getting something off the ground. Push.
Yeah. And then you might feel, oh, I'm taking this a little bit far. Maybe I need to pull back. Maybe I need to go back within myself a little bit and, you know, just be one with whatever it is that's going to give me peace. Like you can... again, even with business, I don't think there is any rules to the person that you have to... you can have all your little personalities, and you can... Like your business, for most people's business is them. Yeah. You know, so your greatest weapon is going to be yourself. I think Naval does that really well as well. As like he's very spiritual, but he's also like this incredible businessman. Yeah. I think a lot of people, you don't have to be one or the other. No. You don't have to have, like we teach this in nutrition all the time. You don't have to have dichotomous thinking. It doesn't have to be one or the other. One's not good, one's not bad. Yeah. You can find, that grey area. You can find that balance, and you'll probably be a lot happier because of that. Yeah.
What a way to finish. Karl, thank you so much. This conversation has actually meant a lot to me, and it's given me a new perspective that, as I said, with that side of, the grounded and the powerhouse, but also that's still all very me. And, and I think about a lot about contribution and how I contribute in the world and how I help others. Yeah. But what I'm forgetting a lot of the time is connection. Yeah. And I think a lot of people listening will be in a similar boat, because it's such tunnel vision when you're growing a business. I think the message we need to take from this is, don't forget about your connection.
Yeah, not me, but also we, because if you're just thinking about yourself all the time, it's a recipe for misery.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.